Hello everyone, this video is about constructor chaining. When an object is created, the default constructor of the parent class is called. But which constructor gets called first? And in what order? So let me show you what classes I've got here. I've got the parent class. You're familiar with this by now if you've seen the previous video. Basically what we've got is the name of our parent class, two fields, one is a string and the other one is a value, is an integer, a default constructor and a parameterized constructor that takes in two parameters, a string and a value, and just a print statement there to let us know later which one's being called. And we've also overridden the toString method. So that's the parent. Then we've got the child class, the first one. This one extends from the parent class, so we've got an inheritance relationship here. We've also got the default constructor, the parameterized constructor, and again, we've overridden the toString method. We've got another child class, so this is our second child class. But this time, this one extends from child class A. So child class B inherits from child class A, of which child class A inherits from the parent class. We've also got a default constructor, a parameterized one, and a toString method overridden. And our third child class extends or inherits from child class B. If we look at child class B, that one inherits from A, and A inherits from the parent. In child class C, we've got a default constructor and a parameterized one, and we've overridden the toString method. So that's what we've got. So if I create an object of child class C using its default constructor, we expect this statement, right? But because of constructor chaining, we might get more. So let me show you what I mean. So let's first create an object, child class C, and we'll call this child1 is equal to new child class C. Sorry, I don't know how to highlight things recently. Okay, so now we've called the default constructor, create the object. Should change my comments using the default constructor, that's more like it. Okay, if we run this program, what do we expect the output to be? Now, because I've got print messages in each of the constructors, we will get some output, but if I comment these out, we really get nothing. So let's have a look. So I'm expecting to get this message, but let me run it and let's see what we get. So the reality is we are getting more than that. And so this answers our question that we asked here. We said in what order? So because of constructor chaining, when an object is created, the default constructor of the parent class is also called. Because child class C inherits from child class B, so this constructor is going to be called. So as soon as we've made the call here, that takes us to this constructor, which sees that this class inherits from child class B. So that takes us to the default constructor of child class B. So we're in here, but because this also extends from A, that takes us to the default constructor of A. And because this extends from parent class, that takes us to the default constructor of the parent class. So with constructor chaining, the call is made and the execution of constructors is done from the parent class, so from the top level towards the last child class. This is why it kind of browses all the way up, but doesn't execute the statement. Once it's in the parent class, and that's it, there's no more extending happening here, it will now start executing. That's why it will execute this line, and then it goes back to A, executes this line, goes back to B, executes this line, and then C, execute this line, and we get the output. So we get the parent class, then class A, B, and C in that particular order. Okay. Now, what about the parameterized constructor? Now, it's pretty much the same because we've actually called the super class constructor. So let's first create the object using the parameterized constructor. So I'm just gonna call this, and if we go to the parameterized constructor over here, you'll see that this one takes 4 parameters: a string, an int, a float, and a double. So I don't know where that semicolon came from, but I'll just delete it. And let's pass the values. So let's go to test, and okay, I forgot where the comma is. Okay, test, and then the value 1.1 as a float, and I think it was, okay, let's do 2.2 as a double. And I think I've gotten them, oh, and we got a char as well. Okay, so we got a char. Let's do an A. Okay, that's it. We need to change the name as well. I need to change the name since I haven't done so. And so let's just try to kind of analyze what's going to happen. This is going to take us to class C parameterized constructor. But before it does anything here, it's going to go to the superclass. Who is the superclass of C? It's B. So that takes us to B. We're in here now. And then we see that this makes a call to the superclass constructor. But who is the parent of B? Well, that's A. So we go to A. In A, we're in here now. Then we see there's a call here to the superclass constructor. Who is the parent of A? That's the parent class. So we go to the parent class, and then over here, there isn't any more calls. There is no more superclass. So this line here, these lines happen or execute. This line is printed out. Then we go back after this call has been made. This happens, and then this prints out. Then we go back to B. After coming back from here, this happens. This is printed out, and then we come back after this has happened. Which is where we came from. This executes, this prints out, and then so we get, let's print this, so we get the parameterized constructor, and then we get class A parameterized constructor, class B parameterized constructor, and class C parameterized constructor. So that's what constructor chaining is. I hope this helps you understand which constructor is being called first and why. And I'll see you in future ones.